Do you need a substance abuse evaluation and you're wondering, what is it that I can expect to get? Well, today I'm going to show you an example of a substance abuse evaluation and what you can expect to receive from the evaluator. Now here's an example of an evaluation. This is an evaluation, it's a fictitious name I have in here, John Doe. The first page, this is what it may look like. You know, there's the date, a substance use disorder evaluation report, comprehensive substance abuse evaluation. So you have your name, clinical summary. As part of that, there's a mental status of whether we think you're able to answer the questions with the clarity of mind. And then usually you get right into the drug history, as you see here. Alcohol, first use, regular use, heaviest use, last use, and go through all the different drugs. That's a typical example of an evaluation. What you may want to look for is at a certain point after they accumulate all the data, there'll be a summary, which will be the summary of the evaluator of your use. Or in my case, I call it a clinical synopsis. And here's a typical summary example. The patient was forthright and spontaneous in his responses during the clinical interview. There were no perceivable attempts of positive impression management. Let me say something about that first. Positive impression management is we're trained to ask questions to see if you're trying to make a better impression than you really are. So for example, if been using for 2 years alcohol use and abusing, and you say that you drink once a month 1 beer, well, that would be a positive impression management. You're trying to make yourself look better than you really are. Always advocate, be honest on the evaluation. Sometimes we will interview people, like I've had occasions where I've been asking questions to an individual about their use and it wasn't adding up right. And I say, well, let me call your living girlfriend right now and get her on the phone. I'll ask her some of the same questions. And if she's answering the same as him, then we know we're on the same page. If she's answering the questions different than him, then we know he's given positive impression management. And when that's happening, that's not going to bode well for the person being evaluated, because there's probably going to be a more severe consequences or recommendations because they're not telling the truth. So that's just to say, be honest when you do the evaluation. Let's get a clear assessment and let's get you the help that you need if in fact you do need some help. As we continue in the summary, it says the patient's AUDIT, CAGE, and MAST scores, those are 3 assessments, do not support an alcohol use disorder diagnosis. When he drinks, he was drinking at an abuse level previous to the DUI, yet he does not show any signs of dependency. The patient has decreased his ingestion to a couple of drinks per episode after the DUI. Substance abuse education is recommended, but substance abuse treatment is not needed. So the summary or the clinical synopsis will give you the bottom line of all the data. We also have in this example evaluation, usually on the last page, that's what you really want to look for, is the recommendations. And the recommendations are the things that we believe as an evaluator you need to do in order to get the proper education and or treatment for whatever the offense was. So this person happened to have a DUI, and here are some recommendations. I want to read them to you so that you can see what you could typically expect when you're getting an evaluation. So based on the foregoing data, the professional opinion of this evaluator, the following recommendations are offered. Number 1, the patient should abstain from the ingestion of alcohol if he plans on operating a vehicle. That's obvious. And if he decides to drink socially when he's not operating a vehicle, to have no more than 3 drinks of alcohol per episode. The American Medical Association says anything more than 2 to 3 beers, glasses of wine, 1 ounce of liquor per drink, 2 to 3 drinks per episode, you move from social use to abuse. So we always recommend stay within the social use and stay out of abuse. Once you get to abuse, you're taking on too much alcohol for your body to properly ingest, and it's causing issues or negative consequences. Number 2 recommendation, should attend 6 educational hours on DWI driver improvement course at CADA and here's a phone number. This is just an example. This would be 6 educational hours on substance abuse and driver defensive course, it's sometimes called. Number 3, should attend the MAD DUI victim impact panel. MAD is the Mothers Against Drunk Driving. That's a typical recommendation. This has information about where to find that course. And then number 4, I have should attend 6 Alcoholics Anonymous meetings for education and understanding the risk of substance abuse. Record the meetings, have the chairman or the leader of the meetings sign your document verifying that you went. Meeting times can be found by search engine Alcoholics Anonymous near me. That's a typical recommendation for someone who's gotten a DUI, who's not drinking at a dependency or addiction level, just to give you an idea of what it would look like. And then the prognosis, it's likely in following the above recommendations, the patient will have the proper education to make better decisions regarding alcohol use and the operation of a vehicle. So that's typically an example of a substance abuse evaluation and what you can expect when you go and get one and when you receive your report. Now, I have a couple of resources that I think could be beneficial to you. Typically, when you're appointed by the courts, you have an offense like a DUI, sometimes they give you a specific evaluator to go see and get an evaluation. But sometimes they don't have evaluators they recommend, so you need to find your own evaluator. So you may do an internet search, you may ask around or whatever. But when you need to find your own evaluator, we might be able to help you with that. We have a link in the description below. You can click on that and say, I need a substance abuse evaluation. Click on that, send us your information, and we'll see how we can help you with finding an evaluator. And then sometimes the evaluator recommends educational substance abuse classes, like education and substance abuse. If that's the case and you need substance abuse education and can be done online, there's also a link below that says, I need substance abuse education course. Click on that and we'll see if we can help you with that. Now, my wife and I, like I said, we've been doing substance abuse for treatment, counseling. We used to have a treatment center, evaluations for really 3 decades. And on this channel, I Have a Voice, we have a whole playlist on addiction and recovery. In fact, at this time, we have 67 videos, everything from how to help an addict, how to help someone you love that's suffering with addiction, what is alcoholism, what is marijuana addiction, is marijuana helpful or harmful? Lots of helpful videos. So if you're interested in learning more about anything about addiction or recovery, browse in this playlist right now and find something that will be helpful for you, and we will see you in the next video.